Welcome back, everybody. This is Grace, and extremely exciting to see part 2 of the Rubicon saga released on Thursday at 3 p.m. in game time. An on-time release. Never thought I'd see the day. I'm just messing with you guys a little bit. But I'm just going to read through the quest, enjoy myself, and see what happens. I could see you were spread way too thin, but even I didn't know it was this bad. You're not just covering too much terrain, but you're trying to do everything at once. Nimrod. You don't really have a choice. You said it yourself. Nobility fell apart with the calamity. We'd already had to take the people on several different routes to escape east. Add squabbling lords to that. I led the main migration wave through the trails and the woods. By the time we were finally safe, we had less than half our starting numbers. Every time we made camp, some figurehead would stay behind. Some big shots thought they'd get to go back and make a power grab. At least some were well-intentioned. They started looking for shelter when we crossed into the woods and into former Umazen territories. Yeah. There were good claims along the way, resources the Expanse kingdoms hadn't reached. Grammar mistake, I believe. Some people stopped at each spot. They figured it'd help the overall effort to spread out. They left a trail of hamlets from the Expanse to Ashenvale, then Babylon got big enough that other people spread out to other settlements. The more helpful nobles ran that trail so it wouldn't collapse on us. That road turned into a trail of crumbs for Akraloth, and the old guard didn't step up. That left you stuck with their jobs. No one can do all this at once, Nimrod, but someone must. Now you see why we're not exactly the defenders of legend anymore. As it is, we're holding people back. Dangerous trips are only made with insecurity or when we're around to help. If the settlements were working together, it'd be a lot less work to keep track of everything, and we could focus on protection. There hasn't been anyone in a position to change that until you stepped up. People won't like it if a royal suddenly shows up after 20 years and asks for loyalty without working for it. No, I'll do my best to help them work together and secure the land in between. The only way I have any right is to lead by example. I'll get some people together to take the busy work off your shoulders, and then you can focus on defense against war. So, walk me through this map. Alright, here's some exposition. The north is peaceful for now. Since the northern passes got sealed by Dragon's Breath, we've been focused on reinforcing the outposts along the river. There was one Frost Giants raid, but no hostile sightings since. No chance of reclaiming Vilmore for now then. We need the mines, but we can't do that until we're safe. We've just gone over the core region issues. Nara and the Alliance have the forest covers. Who the hell is Nara? How are you handling this southern region? We haven't been able to push much further south in the valleys before Dragonstone, but you've got some markers from there to get to the Expanse. We don't push too far south right now. We collaborate with Galanoth and some adventurers for early warning along the trail into the Expanse, but our Emoran contact post is quarantined. Quarantined from the God Scourge, I assume. If this bandit king we've heard of in recent years is picking at anywhere you're suffering, we probably don't want to be out of touch for too long. I'll make that my second task. I wonder where they went. And now we're the Chosen, we're fighting some trainees. Let's see, I forget my earth gear here. I think it's my no drop. Yeah, okay. I'm just running a very relaxed setup. Nothing too crazy going on here. Fire, oh no, wind, okay. Makes sense. This is just my Warrior Beastmaster setup I've been using. Like no complex mechanics, nothing crazy going on here. Probably want fire or wind or water. I don't know if I have a wind guest other than mosquito, but mosquito doesn't do damage. So if water is the next best, I'll do Luna style Katsuro. And I'm gonna use, actually, you know what? I think I have a wind guest with friendship bracelet. Yep, the rogue. And then I'll keep the friendship bracelet misc out because it boosts charisma. Do I not have strength trained? I have 0 stats trained. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna cut the clip and be right back. Okay, back with another trainee, but this one is the demon version. So instead of this, we're gonna use our ice gear. I think this is my only fire armor. Actually, no, I do have Avenger as well, which is a pretty good fire armor. Worm Knight Scales, let's go. Legion Fenrir, it's a summon guest. So I'll instead want my light guest, which is Soul Style Katsuro. Actually, you know what? I think Friendship Bracelet is, yeah, Warrior Mage Rogue, so there's no light. So I will actually use Goggernaut Helm, and then of course my light pet is Classic Fairy Godmother. Oh, I can use Ice. Whoops, forgot. Nerf Kitten. Alright, should be a pretty simple kill here. But yeah, this is, so I haven't run an optimized setup for like basic questing in a long while. Hold on one second. Part of the reason for that is I got a little bored of it. Part of the reason is also I like to have more of a challenge. So I found myself more challenged with obviously less optimal setups. And part of it is I do enjoy the very relaxed click attack, have your pets and guests go off, 2007 style gameplay that you can get from this. And you may have noticed I've done a couple videos doing old scaling quests which currently have very strong monsters, and I hope it stays that way because I do think it's a good change for the game as a whole. But that's why I'm running this basic random setup. I think I'm missing I think I might be missing a wind armor in this gear. I forget which element I'm missing. I'm missing one, but shouldn't be a big deal. If I do go up against a monster that, because of my stats allotment, is too weak, I'll just chug potions and carry on through it. Shouldn't be a big deal. So this is the Chosen using fighting trainees, and the trainee monster seems to have a bunch of random monsters. This is the pirate monster. But I would assume, let's see, oh I have a, whoops, I'm missing one weapon because I've got this level 85 weapon here, but shouldn't be a big deal. In that case I will use Dreamweaver's Scourge. And actually, you know what, Grotesque Eye Spy. There we go. Water monster hitting for energy. I'm gonna just hope that's not a pattern. Cannon fodder, you know, that's the fire attack. I don't know if pirates always have random element. I've never remembered them being particularly difficult. Oh, it does seem to be hitting for energy, so could it be Ellie Seek? Well, I guess we'll switch to Sugar Rush and then see if it's Ellie Seek or just hitting for the opposite element. Totally possible that pirates do this and I just can't remember. Yep, so he just hits for energy normally. It's not Ellie Seek or anything. But again, these trainees obviously shouldn't be very difficult. Should be a pretty relaxed. Oh, Praetorian Slayer. Oh! Okay, demi-boss. Nice. So I think my fire armor here is going to be... I think it's going to be this one. Well, I could do this or I could do Avenger. What's going to be better here? Avenger is 16 fire res, but it doesn't have the Ellie lock. We'll start in Time Twisted Karnak's Fighter. And let's read. So plot armor, freedom, and boss boost, and it has an SP skill of some variety. An elite weapon master of the Praetorian Vanguard, the swift warrior isolates priority targets with explosive shots or overwhelming melee onslaughts that choke their movements. Okay, so presumably that would be a choke or a stun of some variety. And explosive shots, I mean, it's probably still fire damage. So I'll just run with this setup. And let's see, I want ice damage. How bad do I want ice damage? Nerf Kitten will be nice here. I'm a fan of Nerf Kitten, but as for the other guest, I will use Maple Beaver, just cause I think it's fun. What did he do? He just made me bleed and burn. Okay. The bleed is pretty weak, the burn is pretty weak. Shouldn't be an issue. For now, I'm gonna run Goggernaut Helm. And that was using the gun. Oh, that was using the boltcaster weapon. That's the weapon that we just got last week. My video on the last quest. My video on the other quest hasn't come out yet because I wasn't happy with the recording. So I'm gonna do like a re-recording, but empowered bolts leave a permanent burn. Okay. Seems fun. Why am I attacking with a fire weapon? What's going on here? What's going on here? Well, why didn't I notice that? Well, either way, the guest just one-banged the bolt, one-banged the damage cap, and I just one-banged the damage cap as well, so this guest usage isn't very efficient. But since we're taking a good amount of fire damage, what I've done is I've used my fire defense misc. I think I'll keep the guest out just in case I miss some hits like that. But again, it doesn't seem like it's a particularly difficult boss. You just have to take it slow, play a little bit defensive, and you can probably even cleanse the statuses if you so choose. But I mean, hey, it's what it is. I think I have luck trained. I haven't lucky. Oh, your foe changes up tactics. Wait a minute, what happened? Okay, so soft damage cap and plot armor. That's probably a bug. Blazing speed overwhelms you, leaving you choking. So he gave himself celerity with the SP attack and choked me. How much? I don't know, because I lucky broke it, lucky striked it. But yeah, so currently the boss has damage cap and plot armor at the same time. Probably a mistake, but unless the damage cap actually overwrites the plot armor, which I believe it does, if we look at those numbers real quick. Interesting. Okay. Wait a minute. Yeah, let's look. I did 379, 186, and 26. That's like 600 damage, which is obvious. Oh, not 600, but with the pet and guest, it's more than that. So the plot armor is obviously not in effect anymore. So the damage cap overwrote the plot armor, or the plot armor is just a visual bug. But either way, seems to inflict a permanent burn in the first half. When you get it to the second half, loses the plot armor, but does more damage and inflicts a choke. Pretty interesting stuff. Alright, so back to the lore. Good, Alric. Your training with the Juggernauts has brought back your confidence in close quarters. Further, your work securing the passes showed a quick mastery of your new equipment. With such skills, you could easily train other Slayers for the upcoming battle, or take command of a hunting unit in the defense force. I would prefer to remain in the advance force if possible. I need to see this conflict through and face the consequences directly. Consider it done. Though I would know your reasons. Although you speak to me with conviction, you seem conflicted. Speak freely. I need to know my forces do not feel manipulated into duty. Alright. It's not that I don't value the other roles. I feel it's my responsibility to be on the front lines. The legions attract all sorts. I've seen the fanatics, the worshippers, the power-hungry, and the resolute. I told myself that I was one of the last sort, that I'd only turn on Granamore because I believed in this cause. A war waged as a grim duty, not as a delusional bid for power. A sacrifice. Our people only seem to unite for war, but violence will never break a cycle of violence. Corruption still finds a way. A tide of conquest that can't be turned by force, only by looking inward, that might do it. We went from being deceived into conflict to a sort of forced unity that we're constantly working to patch up. We can't just force our leaders into a room and expect them to magically get along. This isn't unity. You don't force unity. This is a fracture that's healing wrong, and appearances are mattering more than healing. So we can break them, contain them, and give them the right opportunity, or give them the opportunity to do right. Hold on quick while I take a screenshot for the thumbnail. Screenshot acquired, let's keep reading. It's true that a cycle of violence will never truly end from violence itself. Oh! War is political, I guess, I don't know. And I am. I don't doubt the cause, I doubt myself. Every day I wonder if I just accepted this power to be able to move again, to have more than a few hours a day before the pain and exhaustion drop me. When the Crimson Legion forced me into a demonic pact, whatever entered my soul felt like it was burning me from the inside. The apothecary took care of the wounds, but the effects, they'd never heal. My nerves were numb one day, on fire the next. My bones would grind and the muscles ache, like the frenzy had worn them out. I'd hear of traitors, but be unable to stop them, until I met panic. I believe in you. You saved me and my people several times over. But as long as I have that stinging doubt that I might be doing this for myself, the least I can do is to make the most out of this gift. That way I can watch in pride if my people prevail, and if they fail, you'll be the commander of a conquering force. Whatever happens then, I pray only that we handle the deserters ourselves. Thank you for your trust. You have mine in turn, for your actions speak clearly. Don't tell yourself that you've taken a cheap way out of pain. We will turn our eyes to the renegades. In fact, dun dun dun, oh! As you assemble your forces and secure the land surrounding Rubicon Keep, your authority allows you to gather intelligence beyond what an independent hero has time for. Threats that seemed nebulous and disparate go clearer before your divine eyes, unburdened by mortal exhaustion and the squabbling of allies. Renegade knights of every kingdom, united and working to destabilize the Expanse, cover up for betrayals old and new. They lurk in the far west, seeking sites of power lost to the Calamity and Expanse wars. Bandits, once disparate outlaws, falling in line behind an increasingly organized hierarchy in the shadows. A so-called bandit king, not only able to unite clans and gangs under one rule, but to hide his authority. And now, hiding in the same caves, preying on the same supply routes, fanatics who are willing to die to hide any trace of what they are up to. So that's what we saw last quest, if I'm not mistaken. Their common routes and struggle against the Scourge suggest a connection. However, you may not need to find it. In fact, you have a notion that someone you know already has, someone who will only trust your mortal face. I think this is going to be Robina, I suspect. So we're in Greenguard Forest, deep in the wilderness, and we're fighting some bandits. Let me move the battle log back up. Actually, let me just move the battle log real quick. Okay, so this pirate is water. Let's see if he attacks with water. We're flowing Typhon Shard, Diversity Defender, and we're going to go energy, so Sacragon, and then we'll do Luna Neko. Why not? Davy Jones Locker with the MP bar, and then we go Luna Style Cat Shiro. And then of course I equip my, I don't have an energy weapon, but I do have a darkness weapon. And we'll go Garganaut Helm, just cause. Alright, so interesting stuff in the quest today. So Robina is aiming to unite the people so that they can be more organized, put up a unified resistance, have better infrastructure, whatnot, all kinds of things that will help for the war. Oh, this is doing fire damage, but he's already dead, so whatever. Robina, the heroes, the good guys, Battleon, well, I shouldn't say the good guys, but Battleon seems to be trying to put up a, I believe my light armor is Insurmountable Gatekeeper. Oh, that's kind of a dog water light armor. He's a Venture. I don't know why I have Insurmountable Gatekeeper, I guess just for fashion. So that seems to be what the good guys are doing, trying to unite all the random little valleys and whatnot that exist, or not valleys, villages, excuse me, that exist from back in the day. Yeah, darkness. Okay. And we can actually put this guy on daze mode. And Garganaut Helm. So the good guys are trying to organize and unify people, which makes perfect sense, and that goes with the theme of the knights. Not the knights, but like the four knights not really trusting each other, four knight groups not really trusting each other, and the people not really trusting each other either. And then we have some type of evil collusion going on in the far west, where there's these mercenaries and the fanatics and the bandits and a bandit king, so presumably we'll have a boss fight against the bandit king. And I suspect how we'll twist the war, this is my crackpot guess, and I haven't really thought about it too hard, but I suspect the war will eventually go from Battleon defending against us, the Chosen, as our war abomination thing, to instead the Chosen and Battleon, so war and Battleon, war the person. Let's say war noun, or war pronoun. Yeah, I'll use war pronoun to refer to like us, the creature, the human being, / god, deity, whatever. War pronoun and Battleon working together to defeat the bandits, and the bandit king, and which evil force is the mastermind behind that. That's my like crackpot guess. Haven't really thought about it too hard, but anyways, we're back to the plot. Chosen of Battleon, you still know how to make an entrance. It's good to see you, Illeana. It's always good to see a friendly face at the end of a trial of fallen foes. When I heard someone else was crashing an operation this far off the beaten path, I worried it might be a plague beast. Which one's your target? All of them. Huh. Someone's starting to speak like an Umazen. Should have stayed with us for a while longer. There she is. Squad, handle the stragglers. The Chosen and I can track their leader, and then we have some catching up to do. Oh, Raider leader? Is this going to be the bandit? Oh no, this isn't the bandit king. This is just the leader of these current bandits. So we didn't get a guest option to fight with the what's his face? I'm gonna use Mosquito because the resistances are so low here, so. And then for pets, I think I'll just use Fairy Godmother for healing. Actually, I'll just skip Fairy Godmother for the animation. Of course, we'll be using the Horror Show Void Vanquisher for the void damage, and I'm gonna do a quick Soul Gauntlet for SP, and then use Zard Aid as a strength boost. I mean, it gives me defenses too, but I don't think I'll really need them. Actually, you know what? I'll use Nerf Kitten to lower this guy's MRM. Also, I have no clue what status, but I think it was a bleed or a something, like the bloody mace. But we'll use Nerf Kitten to lower this guy's MRM, and we'll just attack him down with the harm damage. Should be a pretty simple kill. Nothing too crazy. And his SB attack is a daze or a paralyze, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really remember, but shouldn't be a big deal. Yeah, something inside you goes crunch. Oh, you know what? It is a bleed, not a paralyze. So the bleed and burn. Oh, the enemy's fires spread. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. Huh. So this Raider leader has a burn mechanic, seemingly not from the Tank Knight monster, but from the situation that we're in the Outback, or maybe that it's like a war creature or war-related creature. I don't know if the maces always look like that. Did they always have those red coloring on the Tank Knights? I'm not sure. I think they did. I don't think that's new, but that could be like a fire symbolically or something. I don't know. Enemy's fire spreads, and I'm at power. Oh no, it's not permanent. Okay, it's just a temporary burn, so nothing really to worry about. But yeah, seems like a very simple boss, nothing to really be afraid of. I should be using my skill here, but can't be bothered. Or I didn't remember. But yeah, pretty easy monster. Yeah, but so that's like my current grasp on the lore of this quest. I know, so it seems like that guy, that fire duelist we were talking to, that was like a convert from Granamore, and it seems like they used to be unable to move, or weakened by the God Scourge or something, or crippled from past wars, I don't know. But now they can fight because of war's magic power, because of war pronouns magic power. So that's interesting. How much gold was that? 600k. Okay. Nothing useful out of that brute. With how exposed he was, he might have been left here to die as punishment. But you're not just here to dig into these bandits, you're here to see me, aren't you? You're a ridiculously good investigator. Yes, I needed to talk to you. I assume that's why you wanted us split from the rest, at least once you realized it was actually me. What strange and urgent purpose drove you to seek me out specifically, when you could have journeyed to our city? I need to move in secret, Illeana, and the instigators had eyes in the Umazen when I was last there. I don't doubt you've been thorough in your hunt, but I have information to exchange and need certainty. So the instigators refers to the Umazen Uprising, where I believe Erebus was causing them to begin war, or Panic and Carnage were causing them to begin war. This was before the player became war, if I remember correctly. Anyways, that's what they're talking about, vaguely. Then I will respect your secrecy for as long as it doesn't endanger my people. What do you need to know, and what do you know in return? You say you've dealt with the Scourge, those cursed plague beasts. Their master is gone, but they're stragglers of a great war in the Expanse. They haven't made it near the Umazen, have they? Nowhere near it, thankfully. They have been a mixed curse, mainly a threat to our enemies. We've taken down plenty of smaller outposts, but the raiders scum have hidden their larger presence well. The Scourge had their scent, though. They cleared through a camouflage and illusions we hadn't uncovered yet, and almost ruined some larger operations. Sadly, the sisters who went to finish the job, if they weren't hit directly, they should recover. Most Scourge spread diseases. The strongest spread is the curse itself. Those are burning without their god, and should die out in time. If they were, my power could save them. Illeana and her force would be a great boon to the legions. No, her loyalty is to the Prime. The Umazen losing the defenders may doom them to the Scourge. Interesting. So I think what we're thinking about here as war pronoun is, could we convert the Umazen, and do we want to convert the Umazen? But then we're deciding not to. If a healer can intervene in time, burn the bodies. Remember that Scourge tracks large concentrations of life. That's part of why I'm here, actually. They've been flushing out other enemies, ones that seemed separate until now. The Scourge smoking them out has made the connection more evident. Deserter knights from the Expanse, a secret bandit king, and a cult I thought gone. I'm especially in a hurry to track down the cultists. They're the freshest trail, but I don't want to lose sight of the threat of a hostile idol. They've shared routes, hideouts, and maybe even trade with the others. You've already found a connection, a new bandit king. That's the title of the enemy whose treachery scattered the Umazen. His tithe is influence, and his boon is shadow, went the saying. The bandit king of old hid entire monster hordes from us until it was too late. If this cult is the new king's newest client, and the Scourge is eager to follow the raiders underground, then I should find any traces of Scourge activity leading underground. The bloodiest and most recent are likely to lead to the cult. Thank you, Illeana. I hope to visit your home again. Better times. Now we're Warlic. Oh my goodness. Exhausting. I don't like this guy, but whatever. In a secret outpost near Frostvale. We're fighting ice dragons. So Warlic has a funky mechanic if you guys have never played as him before. Oh, they updated him! No, they didn't. He basically, instead of spending mana to cast spells, casting spells refills his mana. And last I remember, the light spell does extremely more damage, even though it's the wrong element. So let's see how much this does. Yeah, so the fire spell did less damage, even though it's higher element, and it was like less per hit. So for whatever reason, always use the light spell on Warlic, unless it's like 50% res. But you can see it's just way more damage. Why? I don't know, but oh, Godscorch Seeker, interesting. Light is going to do numbers here. Oh yeah, but if you overfill your mana somehow, and I think it doesn't let you usually under normal circumstances. Yeah, but wow, that was big. I think normally it doesn't let you, but sometimes it does. Alright, here's Warlic. Thank you for the assistance, Blue Mage. Containing the infection would have been much slower without your intervention. It's heartbreaking to see these research outposts corrupted like this. Wasn't this one founded for medical research? Yes. Before we knew it was Bradecon's vault. Bradecon being the enemy of the Dracomancers who, like, took the soul or whatever. I forgot, Dragon Soul. This crew was researching an affliction that struck a clan of ice dragons, sapping their magic. This explains why it yielded no answers. They and their partners had turned to greedier pursuits. Their partners? There was a branch outpost nearer to the northern pass, following up on the ice dragon breath walls. Hold on, let me reread that. I'm confused. There was a branch outpost nearer to the northern pass, following up on the ice dragon breath walls. I guess walls from ice dragon breath? I don't know. I believe they were the ones who started this foolish endeavor to dissect the Scourge for power. However, someone got to those traitors first, and only ashes remain of the leaders. Given the sheer one-sided destruction, I imagine it has something to do with why my brother sent you to help me here. Yes, that may well have been war, pronoun. If the rider is focused on destroying traces of the Scourge, that would explain why there hasn't been an attack yet. Were there any other survivors? None stayed behind. Your security and staff seem to have packed up cleanly and left. Scouts have found no trace of them. We thought they may have clashed with giants, but those disappeared too. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is the same setting, and I'd have to replay the first quest. But this is where we recruited those ice giants or fire giants. We've been here before as war pronoun, but I forget exactly what happened, to be honest. That's my bad. Or maybe doing more than cleanup, then. But yes, that's exactly why I'm here. You're one of the foremost scholars on the Riders, and there's a question I think I could only ask you. Cyrus mentioned that the original prophecies hinted at terms of succession, but do you think it's possible to break a Rider free from their role? Now I see why you've been sent to me, why my brother sent you to me. We've both the sort of person to have been burned by caring, but sometimes one can't help but reach right back into the flame. When it's done to save someone who's done the same for you, it's something I've only speculated about. There are contradictions in the nature of the Riders, things I'd like to find hope in, but I need more information before I can be sure. When we're out of here, hold. I paused for a moment, but we're back. There's still something behind the barrier. What else were these traitors meddling with? Yes, so that guy's been in the background the whole time. Oh, is that a Moglin? Is that a Godscorch Moglin? No. Praetorian Slayer. So, oh, actually, do I like this face? I don't love it, to be honest. Not for me, but that's fine. When I saw the Praetorian Slayer monster, I was like, that would make a perfect FO fire armor or FD fire armor. But we'll see if we ever get one of those. Let's see, Burning River's March and Relentless Erosion. A martial technique from the far north where a hyper-Alphaean Knight armies keeps foes at bay with sheer coordination. Targets will choke under the pressure of your onslaught. Normal strikes or choking strikes. Okay, so it's a toggle spell, and it's an SP spell of some variety. Very exciting. And this is the same thing but they taught it to the Praetorian Seekers using the power granted by their god, war pronoun, I believe, to apply choking pressure. Or it's from the Fire Giant's god. I can't remember. And normal strikes, choking strikes, MP cost 0. So I'm going to buy both of these real quick, and we'll test them out at Combat Practice Trainer, see if I can think up synergies, fire choke, and oh, no way we got a fire choke spell. Alright, I'm about to cook something devious up here. We'll be right back. One thing to note, this quest does not have a reopen shop button. They should probably add that. Just a nice thing to have. But let's go see what the spells look like. And oh, teaser. Pretend you didn't see the rebirth staff. That's a surprise tool we'll use for later.
That's a surprise tool that can help us later.
Okay. Actually, you know what? Let's use Insurmountable Gatekeeper. I have it around for the fashion. I do like the way Dreamweaver's Scourge looks. I'm just thinking about the fashion right now. I'm not doing anything significant. Actually, but that blocks off too much of the armor. Let's use Mighty Razor Blade. No. Let's use Dreamweaver's Scourge. I like the way the claw looks. Anyways, so Burning River's March. We get unleash efficient yet powerful strikes. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's see how much SP that. Is that a 2-hit spell? A 2-hit 0 SP cost spell. How peculiar. Oh, is it HP cost? I think it only costs 98 SP. So this is an efficient spell. Yeah, okay, so it does cost SP. But as you can see, I won't be able to test out the choking version because 1749 SP. So that's kind of funny. It's a 2-hit efficient spell. 98 SP is your basic SP cost, so it's 25% melee. So that means it does 125% melee damage. That is the same as a basic attack in an FO armor before style bonus. Let's see if it goes to ranged as well. Can it use dex? Seems to be only melee. Well, I'm not holding a ranged weapon, but usually skills, when you hold a magic weapon, default to ranged. So I'm assuming it's only melee. I'll get a weapon later and double check it. But yeah, the water skill seems to be the same. And is the water skill bug to cost more SP than is our maximum amount? It is, okay. So I can't test it out in game because that's kind of funny. Of course, release on time means bugged release, but realistically every release is bugged. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read the info subs and let you know what they're supposed to do. Okay, so what these spells are supposed to do is, let's see exactly how much. They're supposed to deal a 37.5% choke, so minus 37.5% outgoing damage on the monster, and the choke is worth 44% melee, so you should be paying 44% melee, which is like about 180, 175 SP, additionally, after casting the spell. But that being said, it is scaled by monster fire resistance. So if you're against a monster that is weak to fire, it costs divided by 1.2 less. So it will cost a little bit less. That being said, you can see one, that's not happening. This monster is 120 to fire, the cost is exactly the same. 2, the cost is 1700. So obviously a bug in there. That being said, I am going to 1749. Let me put that in a calculator and see if I can figure out where that might be coming from. So I'm pretty sure that there's actually a note in the info sub is about how the divide by fire resistance is capped at divide by 10% fire resistance, so divide by 0.1. And I'm pretty sure that instead of being capped at that, it's accidentally being locked to that, because if you divide 44% melee roughly by 0.1, you get about 1750. The exact numbers don't line up, but it's probably just a rounding thing. Or I did the calculation wrong, totally possible. But with that being said, what I wanted to show you here was Rebirth Staff. So pay 392% SP to inflict a choke. Now, let's use this SP spell. And we inflict our choke here, which is 4 turns of, I believe actually, 42? Is that right? Yeah, 42% choke. So if we add another 1 turn choke on, that is a 37.5, that'll be divided by 4. 37.5 divided by 4 is 9.375, so that choke would go down to actually exactly 50%. And if I remember correctly, Rebirth Staff is in fact scaled by fire resistance. So let's see. Oh, we might actually just kill him here, but maybe we can pop up the choke really quick. Oh, I didn't see it. Okay, hold on. What else can I fight for fire resistance that is different? Okay, so I'm at the arena, and the reason I'm doing these low-level monsters is because I don't have intellect trained, so my save roll will be at a notable disadvantage. But that being said, I think I should be good to go here. And did the choke inflict? It did. And it's 53.78. So, while the spell's cost is reduced by fire resistance, or the spell's cost will be once it's not bugged, the staff its power is increased by fire resistance. So you are going to be paying a boatload of SP, probably like 600, to inflict your choke, but you will get, at 100% fire resistance, you get like a 50% choke for 4 turns. At a higher fire resistance, you'll get slightly lower than that for slightly cheaper, which I think is a pretty good synergy. That being said, this is an intellect versus endurance save, so unless you're running choke potency gear, you will need both strength and intellect to have the best chance of inflicting your status. But with that being said, I will talk about the downfall of these 2 new spells, which are, one, that they are melee spells. Presumably they are spell type skills, so they won't be affected by the FO lean, for example. At least in the info subs, they don't seem to say that they're affected by armor lean, so I would assume they are normal spells. That being said, if they're not, and you find that out later, awesome, then my criticism is revoked. But what you'll find is this spell costs 98 SP, and it just does the same amount of damage as an attack in an FO armor. So if you're a warrior, you're just better off basic attacking with a fire weapon. That said, a fire weapon probably won't have a random fire choke toggle added on, so this does give you some utility. But also, that being said, not to mention your style bonus will boost your attacks by 10%. Your style bonus will boost your attacks by 10%, so even if you're in FD, you'll be dealing 110% melee with your basic attacks, whereas the spell is only dealing 120%, 125%, and you're basically negating your base SP regen every turn. So if you have a guest or a misc equipped, you're just going to be bleeding SP and doing minimally more damage. And that's the case for both of these. Now that being said, I am a fan. I am against warrior lean. I think warrior lean power crept warriors and removed the diversity for rangers. There's a lot less reason to play ranger builds, although there are still many. In my opinion, there are less reasons to play ranger builds now that warrior lean is a thing, because warriors have a huge amount of weapon diversity and they can more easily swap between FO and FD setups. So that's my opinion on why I don't love warrior lean. And I think that in a world without warrior lean, or in a world if you, like me, use melee 100 procs, the few that exist, to pretend you don't have warrior lean, I think that these spells would be nice. It would be a nice option. And, as a matter of fact, we do have some really good spell boosting weapons, like, for example, the Heroic Titan for fire, or Pumpkin Fang or Tsunami Pen for water, that you can use with these spells to do increased damage. And, furthermore, if you want to play a Spellcaster lean warrior, these two are going to be awesome. Instead of paying like 300 to 600 MP for a spell, you can pay just your base SP regen and get a huge amount of damage output. And because these are melee locked, it doesn't matter if you use a magic booster weapon, you'll still be getting that full damage, and you can use your melee boosters to further work with these additive modifier spells, because boosters work better with additive modifiers that are negative because of like reasons behind the scenes. Anyways, I think these are great if you're playing an off-meta FD warrior or spellcaster warrior. If you're playing a meta warrior, I think these are going to be pretty hard to use effectively. I think they're going to feel a little bit bad using them day to day. But that being said, that is only if these are coded as spell type damage, which actually I can figure out and test right now for you. So the way I'm going to test if it is spell type or weapon type damage is I'm going to first get some SP, and then I'm going to use a Mana Crystal Defender while I cast the spell, and if Mana Crystal Defender gives me a barrier, then we'll know it is a spell, and it did give me a barrier, so we do know it's spell type damage, or at least it triggers the spell. And again, one more test I'll do is I will use the Olympex Imbue. Well, it's fire, so I have to use the water one. But if it's not imbued by the fire damage, then we know it's not weapon based, it is spell type. And again, that's just like 2 ways of checking. Don't really need to do both. Mana Crystal only triggers when you do spell damage, and of course an Imbue would imbue a weapon type or old style attack to a different element, which it didn't. So we do know these are spell type, so I think for people who are comfortable using the meta options with FD lean, pretty much very minimal reason to use these. You'll get a tiny bit more damage, but for a significant cost. If you are a spellcaster warrior, if you're playing that fun off meta strategy, pop off with these. These are going to do great. These are going to do numbers. I do love what they have efficient spells. I would also love a mage version, I'll be honest, because we could use a 271 MP and 271 MP fire and water spell respectively, but it is what it is. I won't complain when we have a beautiful quest, fun story going on, and 2 cool rewards, even if they might not be so meta. So those are my initial thoughts on the release. I know this one kind of went long, but I am pretty happy with the recording, and I really did enjoy the quest. I will put some timestamps. You'll have seen them because I'll put some timestamps in the video to speed up. You can skip the lore or you can skip the monster battles depending on your preference. You'll have seen them already, but I'm reminding myself as the editor. But overall, pretty fun stuff, pretty nice. I'm a big fan of this release. I do think that these items might struggle to find a place in the meta. I do think it's a little silly that they cost 1749 SP. I do think that's an example, piece of evidence where staffs did not playtest the release, which is something that bothers me sometimes, but I'm not too worried about it. It'll be fine. That being said, let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions, and please do check the comments for any corrections/updates that will happen to this gear. Have a great day, spread some peace and love, and I'll see you later.